Justice League 52, Jeff Loveness writing with Robson Rocket on the art. I believe I'm the only one who read this because I'm the only one who read the first part of this story. So I'll be quick about this. There's not a whole lot to say. You know, it's a Black Mercy story, focusing mainly on Batman. Although it does have kind of a really sweet ending between Batman and Superman, because obviously it's just a two-part. Doesn't have a whole lot of time to do anything super great. You've got, you know, Martha in the Black Mercy trying to talk to Bruce, saying she wants her son back, and you know the art's quite good from Roca as well, which is nice. There's a great moment where Batman tries to feel strong inside the Black Mercy dream, and he kind of turns into a giant, sort of more demonic looking version of Batman and says, "Get out!" As you know, as if his psyche's kind of fighting back. And she's like, "Oh, you can't scare me. This won't work." Blah blah blah. What I think worked about this story for me, which is ultimately this Martha saying, "Hey, you made this promise, and she says, you know, my son died that same night. I want my son to live, not this monster that took over instead of him." And I think what made this story work is because it actually ties very nicely into the context of some other stuff in the DC universe right now. Specifically, the hints that we've had in past issues of how Batman feels about Superman, revealing his identity to the world. And it kind of, you know, comes up that, hey, don't you believe in a happy end? Don't you believe you could have some sort of life? And, you know, you keep building these family members, but you're going to end up cold and alone and bitter and all these things. And you know, as this is happening, Wonder Woman like ends up like holding the lasso and breaks out of the vines, and then she gets, you know, the others out. So they're all kind of fighting. Eventually, when they break Batman out of it, he just kind of stands there as the others all fight the thing instead. All fight Black Mercy instead of him. And she tries to show him this world where maybe he can have a happier ending, where he leaves the Justice League, where he actually tries to rehabilitate Harvey Dent and works with, you know, Mr. Freeze to develop cures for things and makes the world a better place, and it's a happy Bruce Wayne. And it's the whole idea of him believing in some sort of happy ending. And he feels kind of guilty for, you know, taking his mind off the mission, off the war that he's committed to, for believing in a happy ending. So they leave the planet. There's some gorgeous few pages where there's no dialogue of the Justice League just sort of dealing with everything and running off the planet, flying away. And it ends with, in Gotham, Batman's on a ledge, as he often is. Superman flies down. And Superman tells him the story of the first time that he ever encountered the Black Mercy, and that it showed that he had a son, and it had to, you know, this was back in the early days of Superman. No one knew who he was yet, other than his parents, obviously. And he basically, in the years since that first encounter, he, you know, told Lois he now has a son. You know, he has this life, and he basically tells Batman to not feel guilty about actually still wanting better in your life. It's just being alive. There's nothing wrong with that. And, you know, I used to have like dreams about this fictional son that I never actually really had for a long time, because I was consumed with the idea of having a, you know, this better life. And over time he's built it. He found that life that he wanted. And that Batman still has time for this. So it's a really sweet thing that kind of ties in nicely to what their relationship's been recently, I think. And it ends in this kind of little moment where Batman asks him, you know, what did it show you this time? You know, this time when you were connected to Black Mercy? Because we never saw anyone else see. We just see what Batman saw in the Black Mercy. And he just says, it showed me right now. And it ends with this gorgeous full page spread of them standing sort of on the sledge side by side. Well, I think Superman's actually floating behind his cape, but whatever. So I think is a little two-part fill-in, which is essentially all this Justice League book's been for a while, is fill-ins, because it's not got a run.
Right.
This is maybe my favourite one of the bunch because it looked really nice. It was tying in nicely to where these two characters are, specifically Batman, in the continuity right now, and made a nice little point, and was kind of uplifting by the end. So
yeah, I definitely like the reference for the man who has everything. That's my favorite Superman story. So that's real. I like that he brought that in. And it's not necessarily canon now, but the idea that Black Mercy showed him, you know, and that's where we get one of my favorite moments, is when he just has enough and fires the heat vision at Mongol, tells him to burn. It's great. But I like that it went with the emotional thing here.
It's one of those things where, you know, it's as in continuity as you want it to be. So if you believe it's in continuity, just go with it.
Right.
So, no, solid 8 for me. I enjoyed the issue. I think Rocky's art is very pretty, and it does let it show off in a number of pages. I think Loveness knows how to keep the dialogue down to what's needed, and
that's good.
Not overstuff it. So
That's refreshing for someone who is relatively new to comics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I saw one of our listeners said they'd love to see him on an ongoing, and I'd be game. I like this two-parter. I like the issue he did on Shazam. He's got one more on Shazam, actually, bizarrely.
Is Loveness the person who's doing the Flash after this?
I don't think so.
No, that's a completely different name because I didn't recognize who it was.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remembered it being someone. I thought maybe it was this. But
nah.
Fair enough.
So no, 8 out of 10 for me. Just so I think 51 and 52 is a nice little two-parter. It's not a must-read by any means, but if you were reading the series anyway, or want a little two-parter to read, kind of.
Wait, are we sure? Because Loveness comes from screenwriting, and I think I remember saying that maybe they both are. Because I thought that was the.
It's definitely not Loveness on.
It's the person.
Yeah, there was no doubt in my mind. It was never Loveness on that Flash afterwards.
No. But yeah, this guy worked on Rick and Morty. Apparently he's doing the Ant-Man and Wasp sequel. So, cool.
Yeah. All right.